The other day I got to watch some breeding activity and get it on video of this buck and doe going at it 3 or 4 times. And it gave me the idea to talk about something that I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding about, and that is the myth of the lockdown. That is the idea that deer activity shuts down for some length of time in after the first week of November or so. And I think that's a complete myth. The deer are moving around on my property all through that month while people are talking about the lockdown. And I just want to use this to illustrate it. Here we have a doe coming in near the creek about 45 yards away from me. And up in the left corner, you can see there's a buck that has followed her in. They're very calm. There's no chasing going on. But this is a hot doe, and he's going to end up breeding her. And this is the way it typically goes in my observations. So this doe comes in, and now she's laying down. She's been around there for a few minutes, but now she finally lays down. And he just hangs around back behind her for a few minutes. He doesn't roust her. He doesn't jump up. He doesn't chase her. He doesn't do any of those things because he knows she's ready. He's mature enough. He's at least 2.5 years old. Mature enough to know that she's ready, and if he hangs in there, he's going to be able to get her, and he doesn't want to chase her away, and he doesn't want to scramble. He wants to have a calm, romantic relationship with her. Here is another deer nearby walking past. He's going to hang around here. This whole thing, he's going to be around for about an hour and a half. And as he's doing it, I'm going to be seeing deer moving all around the woods. There's no lockdown. He's just hanging out with her. She may very well come in here and lay down exactly the same way on another day when she was not in estrus, but today she is in estrus, so she has a tag-along guy. We're going to see as we go along here, there's a few bucks that are chasing in the background, and he pays no attention to them. I hear people talking about chasing by bucks, as we're seeing right here on this video, as being a rut indicator. It is not. These yearling bucks, like the one that's doing the chasing here, start chasing in September. I've got countless hours of videos of these guys chasing in September. They chase in October. They chase in November. They chase in December. They chase in January. They just keep on going on until they shed their antlers, and then testosterone goes down, and then they stop doing it so much. Now here's our young buck, but more mature than those other ones and bigger than those other ones. So that's one thing about it, is he can kind of own this territory now that he knows there's a hot doe in here. And he's going to hang around here. And now he's getting ready to lay down, and he's going to lay down only 4 yards away from her. And again, he's not chasing, he's not harassing, he's just waiting until she gets receptive. About 10 minutes later, we've got more activity, more chasing going on in the background. When I'm sitting here where I can see this wide expanse of creek bottom, I see chasing like that all day long. What you don't see as often as this. Now she's gotten up and he's following her. Not too aggressively, but he wants to kind of stay on her tail. Now, we're almost an hour after they showed up here at this point. And he's going to follow her around, and she's very receptive. She's not running away from him. She's not trying to escape him. In fact, she's got her tail up. She's kind of being inviting to him, and he understands the invitation. He's going to come up. He's going to follow her around for a minute. And here they come. They circled into some cover where I couldn't see them. Now they've come back out again through the creek and up right towards me. They're going to end up about 10 yards, linear yards away from where I am, although I'm about 32 feet above them in a tower blind. And he's sniffing her now. She's slowing down. She's raising her tail. She's letting him enjoy her odor. And there's nothing frantic about this. There's no chasing. This is the way it goes. And if you go online and you look at a whole bunch of videos of breeding deer, it's almost always calm like that. I have observed on a couple of occasions where a younger buck's chasing a doe, and all of a sudden she stops and lets him mount her. But I don't think he was successful, and she ran off again. But this is a very calm activity while it's happening. And these deer are not going to stay locked down in this position. They're here for about an hour together, and he's there for about an hour and a half total. But here we go. He's finally, she's ready. She's going to let him mount her now, and there he goes. But I don't think he was successful. And she kind of jumped forward. She knew he wasn't successful. And they move on. And I think I picked them up on another camera here in just a moment. Yeah, well, there he goes. He's mounting her up in the upper left again. And here we are from a different camera angle. I have two cameras in there. And now here he comes. He mounts her again. I zoom in on this and we get a closer view. And they're still together. She walks off a little bit. Now here he goes again. I think this is his fourth time or fifth time. And now he comes down off her, and now he spends a good deal of time sniffing her. And I think what they do is they try to confirm that they made the deposit that they wanted to. Now, while this is going on, there are other bucks in the neighborhood. Now, there he goes again. He's mounting her one more time. So all this is kind of a calm thing. They do walk along a little bit. And there he goes again. And this is going to be the final time. And when he's done, he's going to inspect her. And I think he feels the job is complete. And she's letting him do that because, you know, it's to her advantage that the job's complete too. She's going to become a mother. Now, this deer may go on and couple with other bucks. And in one study I know of that was done, a DNA analysis of deer in the wild, when does had twins, about 25% of the time they were from different sires. So these are promiscuous animals. He is not going to stay locked down with her because he's going to get busy in a few minutes protecting his territory because there are other bucks that are out circling around them right now. And he spots one right about here. And he's now going to go off. And she's going to disappear on him. And I don't think he runs into her again. So he's off chasing another buck away now. Now he would like to keep with her. But you just can't control these things. Another buck comes in. He has to chase him away. He comes back. Now he's inspecting the area. Where'd she go? He's not quite sure. And he hangs around here for a while, just kind of sniffing the ground. And what a pretty little buck he is. I'm going to give him probably another 2 years. I think he's a 2.5-year-old. Before I'm the one that shoots him. He has probably a 90% chance of getting shot by then. But for me, I'd rather watch him breed. A lot of the hunters in my area would have already shot him when he came in at 40 yards before any of this activity started. Now we start to hear some activity up the hill. There's about a 20-foot hill right in front of him, and up here on top is a younger buck making a rub, and it's about 20 linear yards from him, but up the hill, and it's making some noise. And this other buck starts to vocalize, the one that's down the hill. And I didn't have a camera on him at that time, but I did have the camera going. So that other camera was in a spot where it could hear him better. And so now we're going to just listen to the vocalizations of that other buck. So I have jacked up the sound a little bit so you'll hear more background noise than you did in the earlier part of this.
This one up on top is a smaller one.
So now something has caught his attention, and now he's headed back towards the creek bottom where he started out quite a while ago. The doe is long gone, so the idea that he's locking her down for any length of time is nonsense. Does are gonna, there you see another buck coming in. There's actually two bucks there, and he's gonna kind of deal with both of them. You can see one right above him, and then he comes running back over to where he originally was, and he hangs out here a little bit longer and then wanders on. But this is the way it goes. You can look it up in other videos online, and you'll find out that this is pretty common, this calm interaction between the doe and buck. He's not going to hold her in one place for 2 days like this mythology about the lockdown says. When she's hungry, she's going to get up and go and eat. When she's thirsty, she's going to go have something to drink. When she wants to bed down, she's going to go find cover to do it in. She's going to do pretty much what she always does. Now, he may try and rope her off a little bit, but mainly he's just trying to get between her and other bucks. And he's not making her stay in one place for 2 days. I've never heard of anything so silly. So the so-called lockdown is a myth. And I'll tell you what I think the source of the myth is, because it's a myth very much like the October low myth. There is no such thing as an October low. But before I get into the explanation of the mythology around the October low and the lockdown, this buck hung around for a while, and then he moved on. He was there about an hour and a half, and all this activity went on with this doe. There was no shutdown of activity. There was deer activity all afternoon. I'll show you a video of that as I go along here, but I want to explain what I think both the October low and the lockdown really are. So using the time frame of my home state of Michigan, here's what I think the October low is to start with. It is something that happens when a guy runs out. They tell him he can start hunting on the 1st of October, and so that's what he does. He runs out onto his property, he hunts steady for 7, 8, 9 days, and he gets his scent all over the property. He disrupts his property, and the deer are not using it anymore. And he calls that the October low and thinks that it has something to do with the biology of the deer. It doesn't. So now, discouraged, he waits a couple weeks. He's going to wait for the rut to commence, which in Michigan is going to, the activity is going to start around usually the 28th to the 30th of October, plus or minus 2 or 3 days over the years of analysis. But it's pretty much the same every year, with the peak coming in mid-November and the so-called lockdown being talked about right now. As I was out here on November 15th, everybody's online talking about the lockdown. Well, here I'm showing you breeding activity. It's very calm activity. There's the frantic buck running going on around it, but no amount of deer movement is shut down. That doe is going to go wherever she wants to go. He can't make her stay anywhere. They do try to box him in a little bit, mainly trying to stay in between the doe and her suitors who are circling around because they can smell her too. But he really can't make her stay anywhere. If she gets hungry, she's going to go eat. If she wants to bed down, she's going to go find a spot she likes and bed down. If she wants to drink some water, she's going to go drink some water. She's going to do what she's going to do, and every once in a while some other bucks are going to come in, and whoever is supposedly in lockdown with her is going to chase them away, and in the meantime she can go wherever the hell she wants to go. So these deer are not laying down in one spot for 2 days. The lockdown is a complete myth, as is the October low, and I hope people will begin to better understand that these phenomena are mainly caused by the behavior of hunters who are overhunting their property. The deer are not going nocturnal. They are simply moving their activity to another location, either on your property in areas where you're not hunting and haven't left your scent down, or areas on other properties, but there is no such thing as a nocturnal deer. There's no such thing as an October lull, and there is no such thing as a lockdown where bucks are holding does in certain spots for 2 days at a time. It just isn't true. Good luck with your hunting. I make these videos in the hopes that I can give hunters a better experience by making them think about what's really causing changes in behavior of deer, which in the hunting season is almost always hunters, although it can be there are other factors like food supply and that sort of thing. Cutting corn and harvesting beans and those sorts of things affect it. But the most powerful effect on deer is human penetration on the property or in the hunting area. And it is not anything biological having to do with the October lull or the lockdown, which are both myths. Finally, these deer right here are on my trail, and they're right next to the bridge I walked across. They're sniffing around and eating along the ground I walked on. They don't know I'm hunting them. And this is exactly the reason these deer do not go into lockdown, nor do they go into an October lull, because they do not know they're being hunted, and they just carry on their everyday activities on my property. One thing to add, as with every other video I put out and my book and everything else I put out there to the public, this is not aimed at big trophy buck hunters. It's aimed at people that are hunting small properties and they want to continue through the year to hunt their stand locations and see lots of deer activity. Indeed, if you're sitting on a big buck corridor, some spot where does don't usually hang out, but where those bucks are going to move from one doe area to another, you may not see as many bucks when they're preoccupied with the does, but that's because they're with the does. And that means they're still moving. They're not locked down anywhere. They simply aren't traveling the same patterns that they were before. So look for them to be following these does around, and those does are doing what they would do every other day of the year, and that's moving from food to food, from food to bedding, and bedding to food, trying to stay with their families, but sometimes getting separated by amorous bucks.